Well, folks, this is mail-in week here on the Terranadome because tomorrow is Thanksgiving and we are certainly looking forward to that. I'll keep it as brief as I can this week in the rapid fire rundown. We will talk about the week 12 action, folks. We will also go over myself and Josh's picks and see how we did in week 12, and I will give you our picks for week 13. Plus, very briefly, we'll hit on the Red Sox making a trade yesterday. Briefly talk about the Boston Bruins and the Boston Celtics as well, because their seasons are both about a quarter of the way through, and we haven't checked in on them yet, folks. So it's a loaded episode, but it's a quick episode. It's the day before Thanksgiving. It's the Terranadome. It starts right now. The first interception led to a field goal, and the second one led to a touchdown. You lost by 3. That's why you don't turn the ball over. We see it every week from multiple teams. It happens all the time, Patriots. Yeah, Pats +8, Pats money line. Book it, baby. Buffalo's going down. No. That's right. That's right. That's right. Respect the flying Elvis. Buffalo's going down. Denver money line. I like Denver money line too. I like Denver money line too. I think this is the week for Philly. Denver is better than that 2-2 record for sure. It is. That's gonna be a low-scoring game over there in Philly. I think I'm gonna hammer the under on that game too.
Known as fair and square throughout my years, so I growl at the living foul. Black to the bone, my home is your home.
Well, welcome to Terranadome. Terranadome, and it starts right now. And welcome in, folks. Of course, my name is S.Terrana. It's the Terranadome coming to you the day before Thanksgiving 2025. Can you believe that it is already Thanksgiving week? Of course, we normally do the show. We normally do the show on a Thursday, but obviously we're not going to be doing it on Thanksgiving. So I decided we're going to do it a day early instead. And yeah, we've got a lot to get to here. Of course, week 12 has already come and gone in the NFL regular season. We will start with the rapid fire rundown here on the Terranadome. We'll start, of course, New England-based show in New England with the New England Patriots traveling to Cincinnati last Sunday to take on the 3-7 Cincinnati Bengals. Patriots came into this game 9-2 on an 8-game winning streak. And folks, it looked a little dicey early in this one. Drake May looked a little bit lost in the first half, sailing a lot of throws, missing so badly that you thought that he was blind out there. And in fact, he might have been, because it looked like the sun was kind of on that side of the field. There were shadows in weird spots, but he was missing throws like what we have never seen him miss before. And of course, he would get it together in a big way in the second half when the sides changed. So I do have to wonder a little bit about that. Not agree. This is a bit of an attrition game for the Patriots as well, folks. First of all, New England favored by 7 or 7.5 in this game. They did not cover that. And they lose a couple of starting offensive line. They lose the entire left side of their offensive starting line here, folks. Will Campbell was supposedly not going to go on the injured reserve list, but apparently as of today, he now is. He has got an MCL sprain. He is out a minimum of 4 weeks. They also lost rookie starting left guard Jared Wilson, the 3rd-round pick, as he had a sprained ankle, but he is not expected to go on IR. Neither of them were expected to miss the regular season, which is good news for the Patriots, but their offensive line most likely going to take a hit. At this point, they've got one more game before the bye week, and that bye week cannot come soon enough. Now, Ramondre Stevenson, he returned in this game after missing a couple with a toe injury, but he was barely used, only had 6 carries. Rookie, 2nd-round pick Travion Henderson is now the man in the backfield in New England, at least it would appear. Both quarterbacks threw pick sixes in this game. The Patriots led Cincinnati 23-13 late with 5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter, but they allowed a Cincinnati touchdown just 1 minute and 15 seconds later, in large part thanks to a 27-yard defensive pass interference penalty by Carlton Davis, the free agent signing to be the second corner. Has not really been a great year for Davis, to be honest with you, but the Patriots prevail in this one, folks. 26-20, the final score. They have now won 9 games in a row. They have not done that since the 2015 season. So a great year already for sure for a team that is clearly overachieving on expectations. Drake May goes 22 out of 35, 294 yards, just missed that first career 300-yard game. It's coming, folks. A touchdown, and like I said, he threw a pick 6 early on in this one. Travion Henderson, 18 carries for 66 yards, 3 catches for 15. Hunter Henry leading the receiving core, 7 catches, 115 yards, and a touchdown for him. Flip side, Cincinnati, Joe Flacco on what apparently will be his last start unless Joe Burrow gets hurt again. His last start for Cincinnati. He goes 19 out of 37, 183 yards, a touchdown, and a pick six of his own. Chase Brown had 19 carries for 107 yards out of the backfield. So, yeah, that whole thing about the Patriots run defense, that kind of went away. Not coincidentally, Milton Williams was also out in this game, so no real surprise there. He's also on IR. He's your big. He can rush the passer from the middle, but he's a real run stuffer when you put him and Barmore together. T. Higgins, 5 catches for just 31 yards for Cincinnati in a game without Jamar Chase, so good job by Christian Gonzalez there. And Andre Yoshivas had 4 catches for 61 yards in the loss for Cincy, who dropped to 3-8. Patriots improved to 10-2. They will host the New York Giants on Monday Night Football. And Cincinnati will be active on Thanksgiving. They will go to Baltimore. They are in the late window tomorrow night at 8:20. So we have that for you. Thursday going to be a good slate with 3 games, of course, on Thanksgiving Day. But we continue. Sorry, pause for a second there. I was going to make a decision on whether or not I was going to let stupid little cat out of his dungeon, but I'm not going to do it because he's too loud. We go back to last Thursday night where the Buffalo Bills traveled to Houston as 6.5-point favorites to take on, I believe, 6-point favorites at 7-3 to take on the 5-5 Houston Texans. Third game in a row, no CJ Stroud for the Texans, and it wasn't a problem for them because they beat the Bills 23-19. And man, I'll tell you, there probably isn't enough around Josh Allen for this Bills team to be a Super Bowl contender. We've said this on the show before, but now I think people are starting to realize it. Davis Mills is now 3-0 as a Houston starting quarterback, and he is probably going to start this week as well because CJ Stroud is still dealing with concussion symptoms now. This will be his 4th week in a row out with a concussion. Just one offensive touchdown for the Bills, and that came at the 45. That came on a 45-yard James Cook run early in the first quarter. They could not do anything else, not much else on offense from there. Josh Allen, 24 out of 34, 253 yards, 2 interceptions, and was sacked 8 times. So that's not very good. Second most for any quarterback in a game this season. Somebody actually got sacked more times than that here in week 12. He has 11 turnovers in his last 8 games, does Allen. 9 interceptions and 2 lost fumbles in his last 8 games. James Cook, 17 carries for 116 yards and a touchdown. Khalil Shakir, nice game. 8 catches for 110 yards, but he did lose a fumble. Davis Mills for Houston, 153 yards and 2 touchdowns. Woody Marks taking over the backfield for Houston, 16 carries for 74 yards. Christian Kirk, 5 catches for 54 yards and a touchdown. Nico Collins, just 3 for 55. And Jaden Higgins, the rookie, 4 for 38 and a score. Houston will travel to Indianapolis in week 13. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff there. And Buffalo will be at the Pittsburgh Steelers for a 4:25 showdown on Sunday in week 13. We continue. Speaking of those Pittsburgh Steelers, folks, they were in Chicago on Sunday, a 1 o'clock game at the Chicago Bears, the 6-4 Steelers, 7-3 Bears. And this one was another nail biter for the Bears, folks. And this time was against the backup quarterback as Aaron Rodgers did not play, even though he said he wanted to. The Bears pull this one out 31-28, and they have now won 4 straight games by 1 possession. 4 games in a row by 1 possession. They've won 8 out of their last 9, and incredibly 6 of those 8 wins by just 1 score, folks. So they are living on the edge. And more incredibly, this Bears team is 8-3 with a negative point differential. If you can believe it, there is a team in the NFL, the Chicago Bears, that have 8 wins and 3 losses, and they have a negative 3-point differential. They do have the 8th best offense in the league, and they also have the 6th worst defense scoring-wise. But what they do have the best defense at is creating turnovers. This team leads the league in turnover margin at plus 16. They have created 24 turnovers. They have only given up 8 from their offense. Plus 16. Mind-boggling stuff. Lives on the edge, keeps winning, negative point differential, top 10 offense, bottom 10 defense, plus 16 point differential, plus 16 in the turnover battle. That's how you're 8-3. Clutch defensive turnovers created. Caleb Williams, 19 out of 35, 239 yards and 3 touchdowns for him. Kyle Monangai appears to have taken the lead back role from DeAndre Swift. 12 carries for 48 yards and a touchdown for him. DJ Moore back from the dead, 5 catches for 64 yards and 2 touchdowns for DJ Moore. Colston Loveland, the rookie tight end, 4 catches for 49 and a touchdown. And we also had Roma Dunze, 3 catches for 53. Other side, Mason Rudolph, 171 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Kenneth Gainwell, 10 carries for 92 yards, 6 catches for 30. Jalen Warren, 18 carries, 68 yards, and a touchdown. DK Metcalf, another underwhelming game and an underwhelming season, 5 catches for 22 yards. Did have 2 carries for 12 yards and a touchdown. And Pat Freiermuth, 3 catches for 19 yards and a touchdown. Next, the Chicago Bears will travel to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. That is going to be a 3 o'clock Black Friday game for the 8-3 Bears. And Pittsburgh will host the Buffalo Bills, as we just mentioned. The Bills will be 7-4 coming into that game. The Steelers 6-5 coming into that game. So yes, despite the fact that Lamar Jackson was out all that time, if the Ravens won against the Jets on Sunday, which we'll get to shortly, they would be tied atop the division. So here we go. 425 kick for Pittsburgh and Buffalo. As we mentioned before, rapid fire rundown, the Terranadome. Real rapid fire today, folks. This was kind of I don't mail them in because it takes a lot for me to produce these things, but this is going to be a quick one today. So just hang in with me. It's the Week 12 rapid fire rundown. Next, we're going to Green Bay, Minnesota Vikings at 4-6, taking on the 6-3-1 Green Bay Packers. That does not roll off the tongue well at all. 6 is also the amount of points that Minnesota put up in this game because it's a 23-6 final. Minnesota can do nothing offensively. So Minnesota drops to 4-7. Green Bay improves to 7-3-1. And the real story here for the Minnesota Vikings is J.J. McCarthy, folks. Their first round pick last year in the draft out of Michigan. And a lot of us that watched even a little bit of college football could have told you J.J. McCarthy was not a first-round worthy quarterback and not a first-round choice. And Minnesota chose to ignore that anyway. Here's what McCarthy has done in 6 career starts. All of them this season, of course, because he missed all of last year. I forget what the injury was. Doesn't really matter. But here we go. He is 2-4, completing 54.1% of his passes. That's it. 6 touchdown passes and 10 interceptions, 5.8 yards per attempt, which is just terrible, and 154.8 pass yards per game. I still don't know what the Packers are, folks, but the Vikings are a perfect example of why it's still a quarterback-driven league. Do you think they still had Sam Darnold at this point? Do you think they wish they still did? Because I kind of do. Not much to say in the box score for Minnesota here, but McCarthy was 12 out of 29. I think it was actually 12 out of 19. It was 12 out of 19 for 87 yards and 2 more interceptions. He was sacked 5 times. Both of the interceptions came late in the fourth quarter as Minnesota was trying pathetically to mount a comeback. Justin Jefferson had 4 catches for 48 of those 87 yards. Jordan Love didn't do much in this game either, folks, but the running back that took over for Josh Jacobs did. Emmanuel Wilson had 28 carries, 107 yards, and 2 touchdowns in place of Josh Jacobs. Christian Watson, 5 catches for 49 yards. Next, Green Bay will be at Detroit for the Thursday game, the first one on Thanksgiving this year. Usually that game starts at 12. It is now starting at 1 o'clock tomorrow, so 1 o'clock. And I think that was just so there was no real wait in between the first game and the second game. 1 o'clock kickoff in Detroit tomorrow. And Minnesota, it's not going to get any easier for them. They got to go to Seattle now to face their former quarterback, Big D, Sam Darnold. I think Big D might show out on Sunday at 4:05. Speaking of Detroit, we go there next. It's Detroit. They were hosting the New York Football Giants. Detroit coming in at 6-4, and the Giants just 2-9 on the season. Another lost season for them. They've already fired their head coach. And frankly, folks, the Giants should have won this game. They should have won this game. Magnetic kicking balls? I wonder. But the Giants had a 27-17 lead with 12:16 to go after a trick play that saw Gunnar Olszewski, former New England Patriot great. He threw a 33-yard touchdown pass to Jameis Winston. And Winston with a beautiful run after the catch where he actually had to shake off a legit tackle and get his way into the end zone. He was wrapped up and shook a defender off on his way into the end zone. But Jahmyr Gibbs, as soon as the Lions got the ball back, Jahmyr Gibbs would answer right away for Detroit, a 49-yard touchdown run to pull the Lions back to 27-24. Giants had it on the Detroit 6-yard line on 4th and goal with 3 minutes to go in this game, and they chose to go for the touchdown instead of taking the points. Detroit would then tie it up on the next possession with a 59-yard field goal that had a very weird trajectory to it, to say the least. First play of overtime, and it's Jahmyr Gibbs. He runs off a 69-yarder to the house to put Detroit up 34-27. But of course, the new rules are that both teams get to touch the ball no matter what in overtime. Snowflake rules apply now in the NFL. Winston gets the Giants 53 yards on their drive, but they can't convert a 4th and 5. And Detroit escapes a game that I really think they should have lost, and they were not in control of at all. 34-27. Speaking of Winston, he went 18 out of 36, 366 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception, plus the 33-yard reception touchdown. Tyrone Tracy, 20 carries for 62 yards, 3 catches for 68. Wan'Dale Robinson is having a great season, and nobody's talking about it because he plays for a 2-10 team. He had 9 catches for 156 yards and a touchdown. On the other side, Jared Goff goes 28 out of 42, 279, 2 touchdowns and an interception for him. And Jahmyr Gibbs, 15 carries, that's it, for 219 yards and 2 touchdowns. He would add 11 catches for 45 yards and another touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 9 catches for 149 yards and a touchdown for him. And meanwhile, Jameson Williams was very pouty in this game because he had 0 catches on 3 targets. Next up, we already mentioned, the 7-4 Lions will take on the 7-3-1 Green Bay Packers. That is tomorrow, 1 o'clock kick on Thanksgiving. That should be a good one, folks. And the Giants are traveling to New England. Their lives not getting any easier. And apparently Jackson Dart may be back for this game. We have just gotten a tweet from Schefter. Didn't know, I don't know how long my camera's been out of focus for. Hopefully not too long. We just got a tweet from Schefter a little while ago before I started recording that Jackson Darty Party may very well be back for this Monday night game. Patriots 10-2, Giants 2-10 on Monday Night Football. Speaking of the New York teams that only have 2 wins on the season, next up it's the Jets. The New York Jets and their 13.5-point underdog. They went to Baltimore to take on the 5-5 Baltimore Ravens, and it went about as you would expect. It was an ugly game, not a lot of offense, and Baltimore wins it 23-10. And he's on the thing again. Completely sick of it. Neither of them are completely useless. I should have a dog. Unbelievable. Anyway, Baltimore wins at 23-10. A 5-game winning streak for the Ravens, 4 in a row since Lamar Jackson comes back. But there is a catch here, folks. Jackson himself is clearly still not 100%. That is obvious because he is not utilizing his dual threat capability as one of, if not the best in the league at being a mobile quarterback. In the 4 games since he is returning, he has 25 carries for just 71 yards. No touchdowns. That is not normally how Lamar likes to operate, and I think that everyone who thinks that Baltimore is a serious threat in the AFC, they need to consider the fact that Lamar Jackson is definitely not 100% healthy. Plenty of situations, this game included, where it looked like he could have pulled down, taken off, and gotten a bunch of yards. Hasn't done it. So that's no good for Ravens and their fans. I could care less. The Jets have no quarterback and their top receivers out until week 15. But hey, John Mechie finally gets a chance to show people he can play. The former 2022 second-round pick who was very, very good in college. Mechie for the Jets, 6 catches for 65 yards and a touchdown. Meanwhile, Tyrod Taylor, 17 out of 28, 222, a touchdown and a pick. Breece Hall, victimized by this horrible offense, 16 carries, 44 yards, 4 catches for 75, and he lost a fumble. Jackson, 13 out of 23, just 153 scoreless yards. Derrick Henry, 21 carries, 64 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He added 2 catches for 24 through the air. Next, I've already mentioned Baltimore will take on the 3-8 Cincinnati Bengals. That is the nightcap for your Thanksgiving night at 8:20 tomorrow night. And the Jets will host the Atlanta Falcons Sunday at 1 o'clock in Week 13. We keep the rapid-fire rundown going on the Terranadome, folks. This time, We are closing out that 1 o'clock slate. We got two left, folks. We have the Indianapolis Colts at the Kansas City Chiefs. This was a big one. Indy coming into this game 8-2, while the Chiefs stumbling along at 5-5. Folks, this one went to overtime. It looked like the Colts were going to win it. They were up 20-9 through three quarters, and then they went three and out on all of their fourth quarter possessions and their overtime possession. That's how you lose a game. To a team like the Chiefs, it allowed the Chiefs to score 14 unanswered points. And Harrison Butker field goal would win it with 2 minutes left in overtime. Chiefs 23, Indianapolis Colts 20. Patrick Mahomes throws for 352 in this game with just an interception, no touchdowns. Kareem Hunt, 30 carries for 104 yards and a touchdown for him. Rashee Rice, 8 catches for 141 yards for him. Xavier Worthy, 4 catches for 59 yards. And Travis Kelce, 4 for 43. Daniel Jones throws for just 181 yards in this game. It did throw 2 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor, league's leading rusher by far, had a pretty bad day for his standards. 16 carries for 58 yards. That's how you're going to beat the Indianapolis Colts, folks. You can shut down Jonathan Taylor and make him one-dimensional. You got a good shot at beating him. 58 yards and 16 carries for Taylor. And Pittman, 5 catches for 27 yards and a score. Tyler Warren, 5 catches for 45, the rookie tight end. Next up, Kansas City. They are in the middle game on Thanksgiving Day. They will be at Dallas Thursday, 4:30 Thanksgiving game. Kansas City at the Cowboys. I think that'll be a good one. And Indianapolis will host the hot Houston Texans, who are 6-5, Sunday at 1 o'clock. The rapid fire rundown continues to move, folks. We are in Tennessee for the final game of the 1 o'clock slate. It's the Seattle Seahawks traveling to the lowly 1-9 Tennessee Titans. And the Seahawks did let up the most points that the most points for any game so far in the season for the Titans. It would not be enough. Seattle 30, Tennessee 24. Seattle improves to 8-3. They were favored by 13.5 in this game, folks, which Josh Morris incorrectly said that they would cover. This guy said that they would. Here's a guy who said that they wouldn't cover. But Josh still had a better record than me. We'll get to that later on. Seattle's now 3-0 this season when traveling to the East Coast time zone for 1 o'clock kickoffs. They also have, get this, the Seahawks also have a plus 107 point differential despite having a -7 turnover differential. So the Seahawks, man, I'll tell you what, man, shit. Anyway, I actually snuck that into the show. Shit, that's the first time I've done that. Seahawks were up 23-3 early in the third. They kind of let the Titans hang around a little bit. It was 30-17 headed into the fourth. The Titans didn't get that last touchdown until under a minute to go. So, folks, this game was really not nearly as close as the final score indicated. That little garbage time touchdown for Tennessee with 43 seconds left. Some books had this game at 13. Some had it at 13.5. I'm just saying. That ends up being not a push and not a cover. I'm just saying. Anyway, Sam Darnold, 244 yards through the air and 2 touchdowns. Kenny Walker on the ground, 11 carries for 71 yards. Zach Charbonnet, 6 carries for 35 yards and his usual touchdown. Jackson Smith-Njigba continues the unbelievable season that he's having. 8 more catches, 167 yards, and 2 touchdowns for JSN. It is the 8th time in 11 games this season that JSN has gone for 8+ catches and over 100 receiving yards in the same game. He has 1,313 receiving yards through 12 weeks to obviously lead the NFL. He is currently on pace to break the single-season record held by Calvin Johnson, who had 1,964 yards in the 2012 season. JSN is on pace to go over 2,000 yards as of right now. We will keep an eye on that. Flip side, Tennessee Titans, Cam Ward, 256 yards, a touchdown, 37 rushing yards, and another touchdown. And Shamir DK, again, no Calvin Ridley for the rest of the season for the Titans. 5 catches for 44 yards and a touchdown. In the loss, they are now 1-10 on the season, but their season continues. Seattle, as we've already mentioned, will host the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings 4-7. Seattle 8-3 in Week 13. That's a 4:05 kick on Sunday. And the Tennessee Titans will host the Jacksonville Jaguars in what I have a weird feeling about that game. Sunday at 1 o'clock. Speaking of Jacksonville, as we hit the 4 o'clock window now, folks, Jacksonville at Arizona. I thought this was a spot where Jacksonville's a weird fluky team. Jacoby Brissett has been playing really well. I thought there was a real good shot for Arizona. I picked them to win this game. That did not happen. Jacksonville escapes in overtime 27-24. The Jags improved 7-4 under first-year head coach Liam Cohen, Rhode Island native Liam Cohen, who said Duval. But yet, they find themselves 7-4, and they don't have a good quarterback. Arizona falls to 3-8. It really is starting to feel like, I have this in my notes, so this is obviously a real opinion. I'm starting to feel like the Jags are a good football team that is winning despite shoddy quarterback play. Here's an example. Trevor Lawrence, 18 out of 30 in this game, 256 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Oh yeah, he lost a fumble too. The lost fumble was returned for a touchdown, and the third interception midway through the fourth quarter resulted in a Cardinals touchdown that gave them a 21-17 lead. He did his best to give this game to Arizona, and they said, nah, we're good. We're the Cardinals. We suck, and we know it. Lawrence has 6 interceptions in his last 4 games. He has 11 on the season. That's not good either. Travis Etienne goes for 15 carries and 86 yards. He had 3 catches for 30 yards and a score. That's pretty good. Tight end Brenton Strange back off the IR had 5 catches for 93. Parker Washington had 5 catches for 71 and a score. And Jacoby Myers, old friend Jacoby Myers, getting acclimated in Jacksonville, 4 catches for 50 yards and a touchdown. Flip side, another old friend, Jacoby Brissett, maybe playing his way into a starting gig next year. Maybe. He goes for 317 yards and a touchdown. He was sacked 6 times. Brissett, in his 6 starts, has averaged 314.5 pass yards per game. He has 11 touchdown passes and just 3 interceptions in those 6 starts. And he's really had no help of a running game whatsoever to be able to put up those numbers. For the Cardinals, Trey McBride, 9 catches for 79 yards. Michael Wilson, again, filling in admirably and really playing better than Marvin Harrison Jr. has been playing this season. He had 10 more catches for 118 yards. And Greg Dirch, their third option, that's how well Brissett is playing. You're getting numbers from 3 different receivers in this offense. Now 6 catches for 53 yards and a touchdown. I think it's safe to say, with Arizona going nowhere again, I suspect that Kyler Murray, he might not be back this season. And he may have very well played his last game as a Cardinals quarterback. I think they're sick of him out there in the desert. I'm sure the fans are. But anyway, Jacksonville, they improved to 7-4. Like I already mentioned, they are at the 1-10 Titans Sunday at 1 o'clock. And Arizona will be at Tampa Bay Sunday at 1 o'clock. That one actually has the potential to be interesting, especially if Baker Mayfield doesn't play. We will get to that in a little bit. But first, we have to talk very briefly in the rapid fire rundown on the Terranadome. We have to very briefly talk about Atlanta traveling to New Orleans. I told you on the show last week I thought Atlanta would win. Actually, Josh and I both picked them. For as bad and as injured as the Falcons are, nobody really thought New Orleans would sweep the season series, right? Right? Probably not, right? Falcons led this one 16-7 at halftime, and that was enough. They win it 24-10. They get their 4th win of the season, while the Saints drop to 2-9. Kirk Cousins throws for 199 yards and 2 touchdowns and an interception. Bijan Robinson, 14 carries for 70. He had 2 catches for 37 through the air. Darnell Paul Mooney through the air, as Drake London is out week to week as well for the Falcons. He had 3 catches for 74 yards and a score. On the other side for the Saints, Tyler Shuck. He shucked it up 43 times, had 43 yards on 30 completions, and he threw in 1 interception, no touchdowns. Chris, the floor is Olave, 9 catches for 70 yards. Juwan Johnson, 6 for 46. And Devin Neal, who should be starting for the injured Alvin Kamara next week. If he has somehow not been claimed in your fantasy league and you're listening to this right now, stop, pause it, and go pick up Devin Neal because Alvin Kamara is out. Only 7 carries for 18 yards, but he had 5 catches for 43. We like volume in fantasy. And New Orleans has a tasty matchup next week, so go get Devin Neal if you haven't already. That tasty matchup for the Saints offense will be at Miami, even though the Dolphins have won 3 out of their last 4 games. That is a Sunday 1 p.m. kick. New Orleans 2-9 versus the 4-7 Dolphins. Sunday 1 o'clock. And Atlanta will travel to the Meadowlands to take on the 2-9 Jets. 4-7 Falcons, 2-9 Jets at 1 o'clock on Sunday. We continue to move through the rapid fire rundown, folks. Just 4 games to go, if you can believe it. Fast episode of the Terranadome. I told you I would take care of you this Thanksgiving week. Thanks for sticking with me. Happy Thanksgiving to you and all of yours, folks. We continue. Another 24-10 score. This time it's Cleveland going to the Raiders out in Vegas and Cleveland. And Shedeur Sanders' first career start, they win it 24-10. We told you that Cleveland, Josh and I both told you Cleveland would win this game last week on the show. Cleveland improves to 3-8. Raiders drop to 2-9. The kid wins his first start. Didn't play great. Didn't really have to. Post-game interview, he did act like it was all about him. And he's not going to have a long career in the league like that because your linemen will hate you and they'll just let you get destroyed back there if you're going to talk like you have your head up your ass. You sound like your father, Shedeur, but you've accomplished nothing compared to him. And furthermore, this is the first game that you've ever started in your life where daddy wasn't your head coach. So I get it. You had a nice privileged upbringing, probably one of the easiest upbringings of all time, but learn how to shut the F up. I'm sure he's not going to see my show, and even if he does, I doubt that he would listen to this, let's be honest. Browns got out to a 14-0 lead in the first, and they never had to look back. Shedeur, in my phone, it's auto-corrected to Shedeur. 11 out of 20, 209 yards, a touchdown or an interception. Quinshon Judkins, he can't run for average per carry anymore because his team's terrible, but he did have 16 carries, 47 yards, and 2 touchdowns. 2 more touchdowns for Judkins on this particular Sunday. I do want to give a nod to Josh on this one. When we predicted this game last week, he also gave you guys a prop bet. If you could find it. If you're in Rhode Island, you can't find it, of course. But if you were somewhere that's not crappy Rhode Island, you could find it. He said Myles Garrett for 2+ sacks. Book it. He was right. Garrett had 3 sacks in this game. He now has 18 sacks on the season. He needs 5 full sacks in 6 more games to break the NFL record, which has stood for 25 years. Michael Strahan's record, which was really gifted to him by Brett Favre, is 22.5. Myles Garrett has a very good chance to break that record. So that's kind of cool on another lost season for him and the Browns. Geno Smith had 285 yards in the loss. He was sacked 10 times by the Cleveland front, and he threw a touchdown in this one. Ashton Gianti, 17 carries for just 50 yards, but added 8 catches for 58 through the air with a score. And Brock Bowers had 6 catches for 55 for the Raiders. Next, Cleveland will host the San Francisco 49ers. That is a 1 o'clock kick on Sunday, and that feels like a weird spot for the 49ers to me, but we'll get into that in a bit. And the Raiders, I can't really rip off Boomer and be like, the Raiders, but I just did. They will be at the 7-4 Los Angeles Chargers, Superchargers coming off their bye. We'll see if that helps them. That is a 4:25 kick on Sunday. Just one more 4:25 kick in the rapid fire rundown of week 12, folks. And it's Philadelphia traveling to Dallas, where they were 3.5-point favorites, and they came into this game at 8-2. Dallas at 4-5-1. I bet most people thought that Philly would win this game. I bet everybody thought that Philly would win this game when they were up 21-0, 3.5 minutes into the second quarter. But they never scored again after that. Just the second win of the season. The Dallas Cowboys come back down 21. They don't allow another point in the game. It's just the second win of the season for the Cowboys against a winning team. 24-21. Dallas somehow escapes Philadelphia, and they win it at home. 24-21. They go to 5-5-1. Philly drops to 8-3. And we've been calling out Philly for kind of being fraudulent most of this year, right, folks? So, it's nice to see them lose one because they have been fraudulent and they've been getting away with it all year. Kind of like how the Chiefs did last year. Maybe not quite as bad, though, with the ref help. Dak Prescott, 23 out of 36, 354 more yards for him, 2 touchdowns and an interception. He also ran one in. Javonte Williams had 20 carries for 87 yards. George Pickens is emerging into one of the best receivers in the league, like I told you he was when he was in Pittsburgh, but he had no quarterback and no motivation. Now he's got everything. 9 catches, 146 yards, and a touchdown for Pickens. CeeDee Lamb, just 4 catches for 75. I suspect that he has not been fully healthy since the high ankle sprain early in the season. Meanwhile, for Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts goes 27 out of 39 for 289 yards and a touchdown. He also had 33 on the ground and ran in two more tush pushes. It's been a while since he got his tush push, so he had to have it pushed twice, I guess. Saquon Barkley not having a good season. 10 carries, for just 22 yards for Barkley. But 7 catches for 52. A.J. Brown was happy for once. He doesn't care if Philly lost. He got 10 balls thrown to him. He caught 8 of them for 110 yards and a touchdown. And Devontae Smith had 6 catches for 89 yards. Next, we already mentioned, for both of these teams in Week 13, it will be the Cowboys against the Chiefs, the 6-5 Chiefs at home for the 4:30 kick on Thanksgiving Day. And Philadelphia will host the Chicago Bears, 2 8-3 teams on Black Friday at 3 o'clock. The kick is 3 o'clock on Amazon Prime. On Black Friday, folks, it's the Rapid Fire Rundown Week 12. We've got 2 games left to go on the Terranadome. And this one is Tampa Bay at the Rams. And I thought this would be a lot closer than it was. Tampa's beat up, sure. They were 6.5-point dogs. I picked them to cover. They did not come close, folks. They barely scored 6.5 points in this game. The Rams, 34. The Bucs, 7. The Rams really do look like a Super Bowl winning team right now, folks. It's starting to look that way. They look like that team. Okay? And yes, the Patriots are 10-2. The Broncos are 9-2. And now the Rams are 9-2. To me, I think because, and yes, Denver has a great coach. Yes, the Patriots have a great coach. Denver has a Super Bowl winning coach. But so do the Rams. And they also have a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Whereas the other 2 teams have 2 second-year quarterbacks. And not only is that Super Bowl winning quarterback playing extremely well, and not only has he won a Super Bowl, he's playing so well that he's going to win the MVP at this point in the season, folks. Anyway, let me get to that in a second. Rams look like a Super Bowl team for sure. Tampa falls to 6-5 after a really nice start to the season. The ravaging injuries continue for Tampa because now Baker Mayfield has gotten hurt in the second quarter with an AC joint sprain to the left shoulder. He fell awkwardly on it, something didn't look right there. In that one, he left the game, did not return, and his status is in doubt now for Week 13. Tampa got their only score down, 21-0 in the second quarter. When Mayfield, before he went out, hit a 14-yard strike to Tez Johnson. Made it 21-7 at the time. They would not score again. Flip side, for the Rams in the win, Matthew Stafford, 25 out of 35, 273 yards and 3 touchdowns. Stafford leads the NFL with 30 touchdowns passing. He leads in touchdown percentage. 8% of his throws result in touchdowns. He has 113.7 quarterback rating through 11 games. Impressive stuff. Okay, Kyron Williams, 12 carries for a 46. Puka Nacua, 7 catches for 97 yards. Devontae Adams had 5 catches for 62 yards and 2 touchdowns. Adams having a great season as well. Kobe Parkinson had 4 catches for 41 yards and a touchdown. In the likely event that Baker Mayfield cannot play in Week 13 against the Cardinals, Teddy Bridgewater would be in line to start his first game since 2022 when he started 2 for the Dolphins. By the way, the Rams now have the number 1 defense in the NFL. Remember how I said they look like a Super Bowl winner to me right now? The Rams have the number 1 defense in the NFL. They allow 16.3 points per game. They have the 6th best scoring offense and a plus 126 point differential. That means they're winning by more than 10 points per game. On the numbers, plus 126. I did the math myself. And a plus 12 turnover differential. I believe that might be second in the league to only Chicago. Their remaining schedule, the Rams do have 4 out of 6 games on the road, but it goes like this. They are at Carolina, at Arizona, at home against Detroit, at Seattle, at Atlanta, and home against Arizona. To me, they sit at 9-2. To me, anything less than a 13-win season is probably almost impossible, even though 4 of those last 6 are coming on the road. And I think Carolina is a weird spot for them. For some reason, I just have that feeling. Then again, I haven't had a great season picks-wise. But they will take on the Carolina Panthers Sunday at 1 o'clock. And Tampa Bay will host the 3-8 Arizona Cardinals with most likely Teddy Bridgewater under center. That will be a 1 o'clock kick. Just one more left in the rapid-fire rundown, folks. And it was Monday Night Football. As those Carolina Panthers I just mentioned, they traveled to San Francisco. 7.5 point dogs, I believe, against the 49ers. It might have been seven. Ugly game here, folks. Niners came in 7-4. Carolina came in 6-5. Carolina left this game 6-6. San Francisco 20. Carolina 9. San Francisco goes to 8-4. I think that the 49ers really won this one despite themselves. I think that any 49ers fan named Josh Morris would agree with me. I'm sure he wasn't happy again. But I called this one last week. I didn't think Carolina was going to show up in a big spot, and they really didn't. Because Brock Purdy, making just, I believe, his fifth start of the year or fourth start of the year for San Francisco, whatever the case may be, he had 3 interceptions halfway into the second. And Carolina managed 3 points off those turnovers. 3 points. He's asking you. He's asking you to score, and he didn't do it. By the way, Bryce Young also threw 2 interceptions. Neither of those resulted in points. Carolina also just had the ball for only 22 minutes, and they went 1 of 7 on third downs. They really were not interested in this game, and they have two. For a team that had a winning record coming in, they have games like this often, right? We saw it up here in New England, too. Despite Brock Purdy's best efforts to help the other team, 49ers never looked like they were in danger of losing. Brock Purdy went 23 out of 32 with 193 yards and a touchdown in those 3 interceptions I mentioned. Christian McCaffrey had a nice game, 24 carries, 89 yards, and a score. He had 7 catches for 53. George Kittle had 6 catches for 78 yards. And Jawan Jennings had 5 catches for 41 yards and a touchdown. By the way, Jennings got punched in the D by some sore loser on the Carolina defense, and he tried to fight the entire team. And the guy that did the sucker punch on the in the no-no area, yeah, he got suspended for a game, appealed it, and lost. So yeah, you should not have even appealed it. You punched somebody in the grapefruits, you piece of crap. Bryce Young, 169 yards, a typical Bryce Young line, 169 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. The Panthers still need a franchise quarterback. Tetiora McMillan, 2 catches for 35 yards and a touchdown, and Xavier Legette, 3 catches for 22 yards. Next up for San Francisco, as I mentioned a little while ago, they will travel to Cleveland to take on the 3-8 Browns Sunday at 1 o'clock. And Carolina will host the Rams, who are 9-2, Sunday at 1 o'clock. That is it for the Week 12 Rapid Fire Rundown, folks. My name is Scotty T. It's the Terranadome, and it's a pre-Thanksgiving edition. No Thursday show this week. You're getting it a day early. How about that? That'll also happen again when Christmas and New Year's roll around, folks. I'm just saying. So, that is it for Week 12. But before I move on to the Week 13 slate, I just want to let you know how we did. In Week 12. You're going to have to take my word for it because I don't have time to go over pick sets for 2 weeks, right? Neither do you. I'm just going to tell you, we do these against the spread. First time we've done this on the show where we did the entire slate of games, so the picks only count from last week moving forward. I went 7-7. Not great, but could have been a lot worse. And Josh went 9-5. So congrats to Josh. Here's a little golf clap for Josh Morris. He's out to the lead so far in the Pick'em contest, folks. We have got a full slate of games in Week 13. And I'm going to go over them for you right now. Here we go. First off, we will start on Thanksgiving. We have the early game on Thanksgiving. It's the Green Bay Packers at Detroit Lions. Green Bay, 2.5-point underdogs in this game. I think Green Bay is going to win this game outright for some reason, even though we don't know who they are, even though they're a weird team. The Lions are a weird team too. Their defense doesn't look very good right now. I will take the Packers to win outright. Josh has the Lions covering. So we're already differing there. Next, Kansas City Chiefs are 3-point favorites as they head to Dallas to take on the Cowboys for the second game of the Thanksgiving slate. 3-point favorite Chiefs. Josh and I are in agreement. As much as we want the Chiefs to go away, and as much as it was impressive that Dallas was able to come back by 21 points down to beat Philly, it appears that both of us believe that the Chiefs will get to 7-5 and beat the Cowboys, who again, for the most part, have been bad against teams that are over 500. Finally, on Thanksgiving, we have the Cincinnati Bengals 7-point underdogs, despite the fact that it has been all but confirmed by everybody involved that Joe Burrow will be back for the Cincinnati Bengals, as will Jamar Chase. T. Higgins will not be playing in the game. I have a funny feeling about this game. Lamar has, like I told you earlier in the show, Lamar Jackson has not looked right at all since he's come back, other than the Miami game where he threw for 4 touchdowns, but it's Miami, on a short week and everything. We both like Cincinnati +7. I wouldn't be surprised if Cincinnati wins that game. Cincinnati +7 on Thanksgiving. We continue in the I believe it's a 15 game slate or a 14 game slate, whatever the case may be. Chicago is at Philadelphia on Black Friday, and a game you can only see on Amazon Prime. They are 7-point dogs to the Philadelphia Eagles. That didn't look right to either of us. Chicago, I know, I understand that they've been winning a lot of these tight games. You're going up against a championship team from last year. It's not an easy spot. And Philly doesn't turn the ball over much either, which is what Chicago seems to really be able to capitalize on often, as I also mentioned earlier in the show. Josh and I are both taking Chicago to cover that +7. So far we have been in agreement on 3 out of the 4. Chicago +7. And now my favorite sound in the world is happening outside as a leaf blower is now blowing outside to break my concentration, folks. But I will prevail and we will continue. This time, it's the Rams, who I just told you I think is a Super Bowl contender, or if not, it looks like a Super Bowl champion team right now to me. They are 10.5-point favorites at Carolina. For some reason, despite what we saw last week, that line doesn't look right to me. I think the Rams will find a way to win it close, but I'm going to take Carolina to cover that game at home. Super maddening, inconsistent Panthers team. It's going to feel like a hiccup for the Rams, but I don't think they're going to cover 10.5. Even if Carolina loses by 10, I'm still right. I'm taking the Panthers. Josh is going Rams -10.5. So we have differed on 2 picks now. Next up, it's San Francisco at Cleveland. I bet you know which way Josh is going to go on this one. San Francisco 5-point favorites at the Browns. I don't think that game's going to be nearly that close myself. Although the Shedeur magic, no, I think he gets humbled in this game. I like San Francisco by a couple of scores here. Josh also is picking the 49ers. We continue. At Indianapolis, it's the Houston Texans, 4.5-point dogs in this game. Again, Houston been playing very well without C.J. Stroud. They've beaten a couple of legit opponents here in the Jags and the Bills just in the last few weeks. Give me Indianapolis to cover the 4.5. I think that they'll right the ship in this one. I think Jonathan Taylor. Now, granted, Houston has the second-ranked defense in the league, but I think that they will right the ship and the Colts will get their 9th win of the season. Josh appears to agree with me. We both like Indy to cover the 4.5. Don't worry, folks. You can't see it, but I've got it right in front of me. He agrees with me. Josh has IND. We continue to continue. This time we're going to Miami. And 2 teams that are going nowhere, but you still have to make picks, folks. The Miami Dolphins are favored by 6 over New Orleans. Miami 4-7, New Orleans 2-9. We both like the Dolphins to cover the 6 points in that one. 2 more teams not going anywhere in the next game. Jets are 2.5-point dogs at home against the Falcons. I guess we both have we're a little simpatico on this show sometimes, folks, because we both think that the Jets will cover that 2.5. I think the Jets win that game and screw up their draft position. I like the Jets to win outright. We both have the Jets covering 2.5. We keep going. Jacksonville is at Tennessee, 6.5-point favorites. I don't think that the Jaguars are a fraud team. I think their quarterback is a complete fraud. And for whatever reason, we know division games a lot of times are weird. Like, I'm in a survivor pool where it's just me and my buddy Pat. It's only 2 of us that are left in the pool, a couple $100 up for grabs. And I have the option to pick between the Jaguars and like Seattle, and I think I still have the Chiefs in there too. I'm not touching Jacksonville in this game. I'm not touching them. The Titans look like a team that should go 1-15. Really, 1-16. They look like a team that should go 0-17. But of course, Arizona gifted them a win a while back. I think the Titans at least cover that 6.5. That is going to be an ugly win for Jacksonville if they escape. Josh thinks that they will cover the 6.5. We are now differed on, I believe, 3 different picks here. We move along. It is Buffalo next up. Buffalo at Pittsburgh, a 4:25 game. Should probably be a good game on Sunday. Pittsburgh, of course, coming off another loss. They've actually lost 4 out of 5. They're 6 In 5, Buffalo 7-4. They're coming off a loss to Houston. Buffalo 3.5-point favorites. Josh and I are both in agreement on this one. Buffalo should cover that 3.5. Pittsburgh, there's just too many things wrong with Pittsburgh right now, even though they only lost by 3 to Chicago with Mason Rudolph and his poop mustache in there. But give us, we're both taking Buffalo minus 3.5. Okay. Next, Raiders traveling to the Chargers. The Raiders are 9.5-point dogs against the Chargers team that hasn't looked good. Got smoked 35-6 by Jacksonville before they hit their bye. But we both know how bad the Raiders are, and the Chargers are better than this. Chargers minus 9.5. We both like the cover there. Next, just 4 games left on the slate, folks. Just letting you know what mine and Josh's picks are for Week 13 on the Terranadome. Next up, Minnesota are 10.5-point dogs going to Seattle. J.J. McCarthy may not even play in this game. His in-concussion protocol. It actually might be better for them if he doesn't. But the alternative is undrafted rookie Max Brosmer. Not really great for the Vikings here. That 10.5. I know funny things happen when you get big spreads in this league. I know that tends to happen. But we're both in agreement that Seattle will cover that 10.5. I feel a little uneasy about it, but I can't pick the Vikings in good faith. Also, Seattle in the survivor pool as well, as I look to advance there. 3 more to go, folks. And it's Arizona just 3-point dogs at Tampa, which tells me that Vegas doesn't think that Baker Mayfield's playing in this game. I don't think he's playing in this game either, but I think we're both in agreement here. I have got. Actually, no, we're not. I'm taking Tampa outright no matter what. If Baker doesn't play, Josh is going to take Arizona to cover that +3. So we'll have to keep our eye on that. But right now, it doesn't look like Baker Mayfield's going to play. There's still 4 days left to go on that. Just 2 left, folks. The Sunday night game is Denver at Washington. Denver coming off their bye at 9-2 are 6.5-point favorites. Josh and I both like Denver in that one. And finally, of course, the New England Patriots play on Monday Night Football against the New York Giants. And the Giants were 7.5-point dogs when I made this line earlier. Now that Jackson Dart is coming back, I don't really think that changes the line too much. Both of us like New England to cover 7.5. That is your NFL fix. New England, 7.5-point favorites. We like them to cover it. That is your NFL fix for Week 12 and 13, folks. We will check back on those picks, of course, next week when Josh rejoins the show. Very quickly, I haven't talked about the other 3 teams in town for quite some time, so very, very briefly. Red Sox made a trade yesterday. They trade to get 36-year-old Sonny Gray, who's had a very good career in the majors. His career ERA is right around 3.5. Didn't have a great year last year ERA-wise, but the metrics all said that he was still a very good pitcher. He does have big market experience pitching for the Yankees. That didn't go so well for him, but it was a while ago. I think that the Red Sox view him as their number 2 starter in replacement for Lucas Giolito. I have no problem with the deal. But it does seem like it's something that they would do where they're not going to add any more. They barely gave up any capital to get him. They did lose Dick Fitz, of course, which I know a lot of you are very upset that Dick Fitz was traded to St. Louis in this deal, as well as their 8th best prospect, a left-hander named Brandon Clark. I think Clark might end up being a high-end reliever and might never actually be a starter. They were more than comfortable to make this trade, and they make it with Chaim Bloom, of all people. Oh, and Sonny Gray is owed $41 million this year, which is insane. But the Cardinals have generously sent $20 million Boston's way to cover the deal, so they're not paying him too much. I don't hate it. Obviously, as the winter meetings start to roll around, we will talk more about the Red Sox and baseball as a whole. 2 things that we have not touched on at all on this show since their season started way back at the beginning of last month are the Boston Bruins and the Boston Celtics, so we'll do it quickly now. I'm starting with the Bruins because they are my preferred team of the 2 by far. The Boston Bruins, to my surprise, are 13-11-0 through their first 24 games. They started 3-0, lost 6 in a row, won 8 out of 9, and most recently have lost 4 out of 6. It's a streaky team. They're 7th in the league in goal scoring. Don't think anyone expected that, with 74 goals. But they're also the 6th worst in the league with 77 goals against. That's more like it. David Pastrnak, your superstar player, he has 29 points in 24 games, 11 goals and 18 assists. Meanwhile, Morgan Geekie, who I was glad that they brought back after the season he had last year, Morgan Geekie, of all people, leads the NHL with 17 goals in 24 games. Meanwhile, Pavel Zacha, who's not your first-line center, he has 17 points in 24 games with 5 goals and 12 assists. That is not bad. What has not been good is the defense, because they don't have enough back there. And they didn't have Hampus Lindholm for a while, and now they don't have Charlie McAvoy for a while because he got his jaw busted on a slap shot. I was watching that game here with Josh. That didn't look good at all. Hopefully they'll get him back before too long, but not anytime soon, I don't think. But the goaltending's been a little bit poor. Jeremy Swayman, just a .909 save percentage. Is 9-6 in 15 games. And Eunice Korpisalo is just an .878 save percentage. That's pathetic. With a 4-5 record in 9 games. And again, more on the Bruins as the NFL season winds down and we start just talking about playoffs. Then we'll start talking about the Bruins and Celtics. But I just want to give you a little update on them since I know I've been kind of ignoring them. Actually, I've been completely ignoring them on the show since their season started. The Boston Celtics are 9-8, folks. They are in 10th place, tied for the 8th best record, but 10th place in the Eastern Conference. They actually have the 2nd best scoring defense in the league, but they have a bottom 10 scoring offense. It's not the team of 2 years. It's not the team of even last year, never mind 2 years ago. Much different looking team. But they have won 4 out of their last 5. Jaylen Brown has stepped up in the absence of Jason Tatum for sure, not consistently, but the numbers will tell you he has 27.9 points per game, 5.6 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. Peyton Pritchard moved into the starting point guard role. He has done it well, 16.6 points per game. Derek White has not been good. He's only shooting 35% from the field, 15.4 points per game. And Neemias Queta, a little bit of a find there. The new starting center for the Celtics, 9.3 points per game and 8 rebounds per game in 24 minutes a game. So not bad from him. As I said, folks, we will be checking in more on those teams as the NFL season begins to wind down. So have no fear. Football's king. We're paying attention to it on the show. Anyway, folks, that's it for the show. It's the Terranadome. Thanks for hanging out as always. Just wanted to say anybody that's going out tonight or, the rest of the weekend, just be careful out there. A lot of traffic around. Take care of the people around you. Take care of yourself. And tell somebody you love them today because tomorrow is not promised, folks. And happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Thanks so much for the support. As always, you can always feel free to let somebody know. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Everything helps, folks. Every click, every view, it all helps. And I appreciate you all. So we will be back here next Thursday. Josh Morris, he'll be back on the show. And we'll go over our picks from this week. And then we'll talk about the slate of games. And we'll look forward to week 14 on the Terranadome. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Peace.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. Cause they love him in London and Paris and Tokyo, America, Scotland and Canada and Mexico. They say I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry.